In this recording, I will be showing what are all the default databases that you get with Postgres installation, Postgres database server installation, and we'll explore the template databases little deeper. I'll explain what are those template 0 and template 1, and I will try to drop template 1 and recreate it from template 0 again. Let me log into the cloud environment that I have, where I have the Postgres up and running. When I type PSQL and enter, it's by default keeping me in a database prompt. And these are all the three databases we get. What are they? Postgres, template 0 and template 1. Three default databases. I'll be sharing these notes as part of the YouTube notes section. The three default databases are Postgres, template 0, template 1. If we have observed, I pressed here a command called \l and entered. These are metadata commands, or sometimes we call them as a \/ commands. These were designed to simplify DBA's basic routine day-to-day work. So if you are really curious from where this information is coming, let me exit and let me log into PSQL with -E option. What this -E does is it shows backend queries that these metadata commands are running. When you run this \l, it is showing me the list of databases and some of the associated database properties, but it is getting that information by using this query. Important thing to note is the underlying database table or a view that it is getting this information from. This is very, very useful if you want to understand internals of PostgreSQL. So you can literally test it for every database metadata command here. Let me describe this table. You see, before it actually shows the table definition, it is showing me a bunch of queries it ran to get this information, right? These are all underlying metadata tables. So if you want to be a master in PostgreSQL, this is a very good starting point. Pretty much type all the \/ commands, right? \# will give you all the \/ commands and see what are those underlying backend tables these metadata commands are using. So moving on, with PostgreSQL database server default setup, you would get three default databases. One is Postgres, which is a user database. Another one is a template 0. Another one is a template 1. So let me query certain columns in this table. When I say select database name, comma, is template, so it says that Postgres is not a template database. False. Template 0 and template 1 are template database. Now what is this template database? Whenever we run a simple command called create database, let's say I want to create it as DB1. You see how faster it is completing the database creation? Now all it does is it copies the physical storage structures from template 1 to this test DB1. If I want to show you the physical structures where it gets stored, let me take you back to command prompt and go to PGDATA, go to base directory. If you do ls-l, you see a bunch of directories there. Each directory ID is associated with one of the databases we have. 16392 is just created for testdb1. Now let me log in, or let me create it like here, create database testdb2. Now you will see one more directory added here, 16393. So what happens in the background during this create database command is it simply copies the structures from template 1 database to testdb2 database, or whichever is the user database we are giving. If that is the purpose of template 1, what is the purpose of template 0? Okay, template 1 is modifiable. Template 1 is modifiable, right? That means I can add some custom tables there so that going forward, the subsequent create database commands will also inherit those custom tables. Now let me go ahead and let me connect to template 1 here. I have no relations, no objects created here. The current database I am in is template 1. Now let me create a table here. Insert into T1 values. I am from template 1. Now template 1 has a T1 table. Now as per the definition, if I go ahead and create a database called testdb3, it is going to copy the structures from testdb. It is going to copy structures into testdb3 from template 1. That means ideally you should also get T1 table within testdb3. Let's see if that got created. There you go. You see the T1 table here created. Let me select current database. Yeah, ideally you can see the current database from the left pane here. When I say select start from T1, it is showing me I am from template 1. So far so good. If I quickly recap, we figured out Postgres database server setup brings in 3 databases. This is a user database. This is a template database, but please don't drop this database. So you can modify this template 1, you can drop it, you can drop this and copy back from template 0. Now over the course of your journey in Postgres, probably you have played a lot around this template database, right? Now it's time for you to freshly create it again from template 0. Now can I simply drop this template 1? No, I cannot drop a template database. Now what I have to do? I have to first make it as a user database. Now if I describe pg_database, let me show you the flag that I need to update. To drop a template database, first you need to make the template database as a non-template database. Now let me update to false. I'm sorry, let's update the table name. Set data is template equal to false, where dat name equal to template 1. If I run this command, I would see template 1 as a false. Now if I'm trying to drop database template 1, there you go. We are successfully able to drop the template 1 database. Now what happens when we are trying to create a new user database? Create database, let's say testdb4. Would it create from template 0 or would it fail saying template 1 does not exist? Yeah, it's failing because template 1 does not exist. So it is trying to create testdb4 from template 1. Now how do I create template 1 back again? How do I create template 1 database again? Now can I simply say create database template 1? No, right? There has to be some extra flags I need to tell during the creation of a database. For that, let's look at the definition or the syntax of a create database. Now you see create database name, template equal to template, is template, yes. Let me say create database template 1. The template for this is template 0. Now let me enable this flag to 1. I have to give a Boolean value here. Whenever any SQL command is successful, you get the feedback like this. Pretty much first word or first couple of words of a SQL statement that we have run. Now if you look at, you see the template 1 created from template 0. Now let's say create database testdb4 now. This is successful because template 1 exists. Now let's run that select statement to see the select statement on pg_database. Template 1, where is template 1? Here. It's true. Template 0 is true. All right. Now we brought our databases, default databases to its original state. Now if you connect to template 1, you would not see that T1 table. But however, if you connect to testdb2, where did we create that? Testdb1. Yeah, that we created. We created this testdb3 from template 1, where I had T1 table. This table still exists in testdb3. In summary, what we have done in this recording is we understood what are all the default databases, 1 user and 2 template, where they are stored by default. So how do I create a new database? We would see those options, extra options in the successive sessions, but how to create a basic creation of a basic database? Drop template database, recreate template 1 database. And also we did some kind of extra steps, like we added some tables in template 1. Then the successive create database commands even inherits those objects into the user databases. And one most important thing is we learned about psql-e option. We looked at pg_database also in this session. That's all I have for this presentation. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. Looking forward to talk to you in the next recording.